Bump, bump, bump. After being bitten by a radioactive bird, somewhat mannered Tuthill was possessed to become Phineas, the Skydude. This is episode number 142, The Adventures of Phineas the Skydude, where today we really have no idea what we're doing. Still kind of reeling from that, doing the route of Alexander the Great. You know, learning the nitty-gritty about everything. And I'm sorry we didn't end up flying a whole lot at the end, but he was covering such great distances in his movement that it would have taken till next week to fly it all. So we just relied on teleporting. I really, again, don't know what the plan is for today, but one thing I want to do is, since I'm not in any hurry to get back to it, I wanted to show you what things look like here in Colorado. I don't know if you follow the weather. In the United States, maybe, you know, watching the news today, you're like, oh, wow, Colorado's really getting hit with a snowstorm. It's really isolated, and it's been lovely. It's been right over our part of town. Like on the other side of town, they don't really have any snow. But our side of town, we've been getting a lot of snow. And I'm loving it. Doing a quick comparison of live weather in Microsoft Flight Simulator, sometimes it seems to be better, more spot on. So this is taking a live look at the way that the computer is currently seeing Colorado Springs, right? I'm looking towards the west here. You can't really see much. Okay, as I look down, this is my home. This is the neighborhood that I live in. All right. So as you look north, it seems a little bit better. I believe that we have a lot more snow. So doing a comparison, I believe that in this neighborhood where I'm at right now, we have 2 feet, 1.5 2 feet of snow. Okay, so I would say that the simulator's kind of, you know, not doing a great job here. It's cutting it off here when it actually extends a little bit further. As we look west, though, you see the complete ground coverage, how everything is covered. I think that's the way it should be for another several miles going out to Kansas. See, they kind of got it out there. It's like it thinks that because of the elevation that we're at, maybe, that it doesn't want to give us the full show. It definitely looks, I think, more like that over there, where every inch of the ground is covered. Surprisingly, again, it's been isolated. I mean, they're definitely calling this a front range snowstorm. And by that, we have this large mountain range out in front of us here, right? And it just seems to have just come over the hill and dumped there. And then as you move out west, like towards Denver International Airport, they're only reporting like 5 or 6 inches of snow. So it just dropped right off the side of the mountain and then kind of took off. I'm in the caravan at the moment. Let me see if I can kind of get us up above it a little bit. See how high it's going. City of Colorado Springs Municipal Airport. We haven't been back here in Colorado for weeks and weeks now. Been doing that the European tour starting in Germany. And that took us all the way south. Then I realized, hey, I'm in ancient Macedonia territory. Wouldn't it be nice if we could follow the route of Alexander the Great? And again, that was a lot of fun. I mean, I really enjoy it. Makes flying around and looking at things not so hypnotic and boring. If you think this is boring. But, you know, specifically looking for things on the ground as we're flying around, looking at the ancient sites, letting our imaginations go crazy on the landscapes. That was a lot of fun. with the Bushtalk Radio, we get quite a bit of that on these live streams, you know, as we pass points of interest. But in that area, they, you know, nobody has actually put together the Alexander the Great route, which is probably something I'm going to do this weekend. You can submit your own points of interest to do audio tours in Bushtalk Radio, which I don't have loaded at the moment. But normally whenever you pass over a point on the map, it triggers an audio tour, which plays really cool information, whatever you've typed in for the AI to read to the people. So yeah, I think I'm going to, now that we've done the route of Alexander, go back and put in everything that they don't have. The only thing that we really got out of it at all was the crossing of the Hellespont. Maybe there was something for Halicarnassus. I mean, but for the most part, there wasn't a lot on Alexander the Great, so. Check where our propeller's at. Put the conditioner up. Give me get a little more climbing power. Henny said he may or may not join us this afternoon. If he does and wants to try a little pew-pew and DCS World, maybe we can do that. I thought about doing an airliner flight because I'm getting a little rusty on flying the Airbus. And go back to Babylon where we left off. And do an Airbus flight to take us back up towards Germany or over to Carthage and then up through Rome. If you have any particular what am I trying to say here? If you were inclined either way, you know, do I head north, south, east, or west? Which direction would you want me to go? Would you want me to go back towards Carthage and up through Rome? Or keep going east now towards China? Or we could go through Africa, or again, straight north. And then up and, you know, up maybe, again, Northern Europe. And we can also head east at that point and go into Russia. So if you have any particular, again, I'm at a loss for words. What is the word I'm trying to say? If you favor going in any particular one direction, then let me know. What I'm trying to do here is I'm in Colorado right at the moment. I've taken us back home because we're having a an interesting snowstorm here. It's very isolated over Colorado Springs and well all along this front range of mountains of the Rocky Mountains here. And so I was doing a comparison to see, you know, how good is it doing the live weather in showing all the snow. And for the most part, pretty darn good. It doesn't seem to have laid down enough snow exactly where I'm at. But all around us, it seems to have done a fantastic job. What I'm trying to do right now is climb and see how high is it? How high do we need to fly before we get out of it? And after that, I really have I had no plans for the day. Still recovering from the Alexander the Great thing. So I'm starting to see a little blue sky over here. Let's just keep circling our way up. It is supposed to dissipate in the next 24 to 48 hours, and the sun should be out this weekend. They said if anything, it'll turn to rain. So we're already at 14,000 feet. That's as high as Pikes Peak. This plane has got such guts. I love it. Such a powerful engine. In the 172, I'd be climbing for days trying to get up here. you have any questions or comments, please never hesitate to ask. If I don't know the answer, I will try to find it for you. If you would like a new subscriber to your channel, just say hello in the chat room. And that way I can click on your name and go right to go to channel option and subscribe to your channel. Whether you have any content up or not, it doesn't matter to me. We all start somewhere. And it's always nice to have an extra follower. So I'll be happy to follow you if you need a follower. If you wouldn't mind doing the same, like and subscribe. And Henning did say that he's got a new video posted. So now that we have the time, we could possibly do that a little bit later and see what he's got posted on his page today. Hope you're having a great day, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. Let me raise my coffee to you. Cheers. Here's to your health, well-being, and prosperity. If you tuned in this last week, did you enjoy what I was doing? You know, doing the route of Alexander. I thought it was neat using the Kings and Generals channel. So far, we're not having any copyright problems with those folks. A couple of the audio tracks, and I don't know if they were from commercials or from what was playing in the videos, and I had to chop just a clip out here or there. But the last two have come across as shares, so that's nice. I would really like to use them more, especially if we're going to do Rome. All right. It's telling me, take it easy. I know I'm an awesome plane, but you're really pushing me. That right out there on what's going to be right in front of our nose here in a moment, the little message popped up saying that Meadow Lake is that way. That's normally my home airport. See it right there, Meadow Lake in the propeller, 13 miles. That's my home airport. So I'm rather boring. That's the best way to put it. Boring. So when I first got Microsoft Flight Simulator and was in the alpha, actually, they had a bunch of things they wanted us to test, but you could still go anywhere you wanted and see everything that they had to offer. And I actually was really silly and didn't take advantage of it. I just really wanted to concentrate on my flying lessons. So what I was learning in lessons, I would just hop in here and fly from my home base and act like it was real. I would drive down the road, imagine myself driving down to Meadow Lake Airport, and I would do all my training right here in my own home city. And then then after that, you start doing your cross countries. I started doing all my cross countries from here, and only recently, in the last month or two, doing cross countries, where we're going into other countries now and exploring Europe for the very first time in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it's been lovely so far. I was surprised that they don't have a detailed Egypt or Middle East yet. But it kind of makes sense. But it's kind of a drag. Same with Mexico, really. When we went to go look at all the pyramids in Mexico, none of them have been recreated in the simulator or hand built by anybody. So that's a real drag. And then the computer usually just sticks a generic building on top of what it thinks is there. Speaking of updates, there's a Texas update coming, a city update for Texas on the 20th. Is that when update 15 comes out? somewhere around the 20th, update 15 is going to come out. And they said that's going to dramatically change the way it allocates memory. And they said everybody should be really happy with that. They said it's a sneak peek into looking at 2024 memory management with the simulator, they said. And it'll even be better, they said. But it's supposed to give all of us current 2020 players a taste of how good the new memory management can be. And I guess everybody's really happy they're getting a lot of good FPS. Not that I'm really that concerned with it. I mean, frames per second beyond 30, 36 isn't really what we, when you're studying, yeah, it's great to have it. I guess if you've got the machine to do it, then there's nothing to worry about. If you don't have a machine that can do it, 60 frames, then don't worry about it. Bring it back down to 30, 36. Put it wherever your machine handles. And don't be embarrassed by it. Because you can go as low as 24 frames. And that's motion picture. Since motion picture has been motion picture for the most part, the standard has been 24 frames a second. So if you're doing 30 frames, you're already better than movies. I'm not sure what the frame stock of today is running at. I think it is actually running higher. So I've got us capped out at 30 frames, and I've also set my monitors to the same hertz. Like my monitor does 420 hertz. I've got mine capped at 30 at the moment. I want it to be the same as what the simulator is set to, so everything is trying to run lower to try to give me more boost so I can turn up graphics a little bit. Trying to make things look a little bit better. All right, so starting to get above it. There's the Air Force Academy. So now we're turning east to look out towards Kansas. We'll keep climbing. I'll do a heading hold here. And that's fine on the vertical speed. All right, let me pop outside the plane. Whoa. Aha, there we are. So if you're just tuning in, I don't really have too much of a plan for today. I was going to play it by ear in case anybody wanted to do something different, like dogfighting in DCS World. So I'm just going to leave it open for a little bit. But I wanted to start the show by looking at my hometown and the snowstorm. If you're in the United States, you probably already heard it on the news this morning, or yesterday and today, just how hard we're getting hit here in areas of Colorado with this snowstorm. And I love it. I believe that, I mean, it's showing that we've gotten quite a bit of snow. I think we have a lot more than this. And I don't know if, maybe the computer, I don't know. I see in certain areas that it seems like they've got more snow coverage. It really does drop off like that, which is the interesting thing. The wife and I were talking about that as we head out east, it's just immediately drops off after a few miles. So where we're at 2.5 feet. That area of town over there, just beyond there, they're only at like 4 inches, 5 inches. In Denver International Airport, 6 inches. But again, as we go closer and closer to the mountains, some people out here are getting 29, 30, 35. I've heard 50 so far. 50 is the maximum, 50 inches of snow. Speaking of making things look better, because we were doing the route of Alexander the Great, there was no need for any cloud data. I didn't, we needed it sunny so we could see everything and didn't want the clouds messing with things. But in a case like this, where all we really are concerned with, can't really see the ground too much. We don't need to see the trees in ultra at the moment. No grass and bushes, we don't have to have it. But what we do want is to pump all of our graphics into the clouds, because that's what it's about today. And let's do light shafts as well. So turn some things down, turn some things up. Boy, they look a lot more scary. Just a moment ago, they were nice and puffy and soft, Snowstorm, and now it's like, no. But again, this almost looks like what I was telling you about. Like higher up here, you can see it's turning and turning and turning. And then just the next layer down, it's nice and billowy as it covers the land. Like that area right there that we're looking out into. Imagine 2 layers, because you can see this layer over here that's bubbly is casting shadows down onto a lower layer. And then as we look out further, you can see where it's ending and start to make out the ground. See all the cauliflower here? Those are all clouds. And that is exactly what the snowstorm is doing. It's just coming right over the mountain, dropping, and then ending. I mean, they're still getting, it's been pushing out east. And pushing, this is surprisingly all, as I understand, all coming from the south. Some sort of front moved up from the south and pushed all this up here, going into Denver. And then again, as we look out east, it just drops off. Uh-oh. We're getting a stall. Let's do an altitude hold. Let's do vertical speed. All right. So if you've never been in Microsoft Flight Simulator before and you've only heard about the live weather and have wondered to yourself, how good is it? Very good. Very, very, very darn good. The services that they're working with, Medio Blue, and whomever else they're working with to provide satellite data that can be in. Isn't that weird to think about? They're using satellite data and real world data, and they're able to convert it into game graphics. And that is amazing. They said they're still working on depth of snow and ice on things. You know, this has all been a learning curve. I mean, nobody's ever pioneered any stuff like this before. So people are like, oh, it's not, even me. It's not 100% accurate. Just when I step back and think about what it is taking to accomplish this. Pretty amazing. So if you get a lot of interesting weather in your area, I think you'll be thrilled with it. I should get a plane with skis. You know, I haven't done that yet. Is try any ski landings. This is my city. I don't know about other cities. This is a really good city for Neofly. There's a lot of little places for me to run back and forth to. It's probably going to be really good wherever your city is at. But there's so many little airports around here. Everywhere you throw a stick, there's an airport out here in Colorado. And so making money has been very easy in Neofly. If you're just tuning in, I didn't have any plan for the day. The only thing I wanted to do is hop back real quick here to Colorado Springs, Colorado, as we're caught in the last couple of days. We've been in this interesting snowstorm right along the front range here. We've got about a foot and a half, 2 feet of snow where I'm currently at. And I'm part of this. And I wanted to do a quick comparison. See if things are still working good with live weather. And sure enough, working great. This is exactly what's going on. It's coming in from the south, and right after it comes down the mountains on this side, it just starts ending. And then there's the northern wind pushing it back south. But it's as I understand, it's being pushed up from over there. Driven from the south. Normally it's usually driven from like the north or northwest. And then there's another front pushing it all south. So as we look out there into the distance, you see there's, snow covered ground, and then all of a sudden it just drops off and everything's green again. And that's exactly what's going on. The other side of town over there, they're not getting any snow. We're getting it all right here. And I love that because, hey, the more moisture, the better. I'm always complaining I want more snow or I want more rain. Fill up the lakes again, man, We need the water. So anytime we get snow, I just get super happy. And to have 50 inches of snow in some places out here into the mountains, it's fantastic. I know it sucks for anybody caught in it, but growing up here, the snowstorms used to be way more extreme. They're talking about, well, people are getting 3 or 4 foot snow drifts. Folks, I got to tell you, when I grew up here in the past, snow drifts that would cover an entire side of your house. If the snowstorm happened to come at the front of your house, you would have to go out your back door or dig your way out. It would be, the snow would be 10 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet. Snow drifts. So growing up and being kids here, having massive amounts of snow was never a problem. I mean, those were always the fun days. Because you can dig snow tunnels and, everybody stays home and you drink cocoa and, we didn't freak out. And now that we have so much less snow these days, it's not even as extreme as it used to be. People are like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We have 2 feet of snow. My gosh, first, relax. We're in Colorado, so here, smoke that. And let me tell you of the days of high adventure. Cue the Conan music. Bum, 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 bum. Tell you of the days of high adventure, whatever the script was like for the Conan movie. Right, so this doesn't bother me at all, and it burns off so fast after it comes down. Like, oh my God, we're gonna starve to death. We have 3 feet of snow. Whatever will we do? If this continues more than a week, we're done for. Snow doesn't last a week here. It should be gone. Tomorrow it's gonna warm up. The thing will be this whole system will have dissipated, and we're already looking at 50 degrees or more out there towards Kansas. That's what they're reporting weather-wise right now. So this will all melt off probably tomorrow night, and turn to rain. So Colorado's one of those cities where they say, well, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. So for whatever reason, if you find yourself out here and you get thrown off the road and you're stuck in a snowbank and you think, oh my God, we're gonna die, just relax. Just relax. Stay warm. Sing songs. Because you're going to be just fine. Unless you're in a ravine, of course. Or you've driven off a cliff. In which case you're probably not going to be fine. And you're never going to be found. Just kidding. But for the most part, relax, sing some John Denver tunes, take a nap, you'll be fine. It'll be melted off before you know it. Has the weather changed a lot in the area that you live in over the course of your lifetime? You know, everybody's talking about climate change. I would really love Colorado to get back to the way it was when we were kids. Because it's very, very green here, but to me, it used to be much more green. And again, 10-foot, 11-foot snowdrifts. You could jump off your roof. That was an activity. That was an activity here. Jump off your roof into snowdrifts. As a teenager, it was always fun because it was so easy to go, when you're a teenager, go hide from your parents. Right? So I was living in Castle Rock, which is just downrange a ways out there. And in those days, there wasn't much around. And so we did everything we could to be bad or whatever. We weren't bad, but hey, let's go drink a beer. Hey, let's go smoke a cigarette. You know what I mean? The things you do that you don't want your parents to know that you're doing, but they know that you're doing it. They're parents. They know what you're doing. But all of our cars are wherever, the shed, everything is so completely covered in snow. So our cars, when we had cars, the snow was so high that we'd come out of the garage and we'd dig a little tunnel out to one side of the car, not, the side not facing the house. And we could dig out one side of the car, and from the other side, you'd never know that we had done that. There's so much snow. So then we'd climb in from that side and hang out, smoke cigarettes, drink a beer, listen to the Bronco game. Colorado's an interesting place, man. One of these places where it snows all the time, but everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people have hot tubs. And now it's a lot easier to with the way our architecture and to have televisions, sealed or secured, but still be able to watch them outside while you're sitting in the middle of a snowstorm in a hot tub watching a Denver Bronco game. That was always interesting. I always felt like one of those monkeys in Japan, right? They have those monkeys that go down to the hot springs, and the monkeys just hang out and chill out in the water trying to stay warm. That's what it feels like living in Colorado when you have a hot tub and you're watching a Bronco game in the middle of a snowstorm. Fun. I haven't watched football in ages, though. When Elway retired and they finally won their, the Super Bowl, and then he won another one, so he did two right away. And when he retired, I retired. I have other things that I wanted to do with my life, and spending my weekends just completely caught up in sports. I'm like, I think I've had enough after 30 years of following the Broncos. All the ups, all the downs, all the previously missed Super Bowls. And so it went out on a high note, as he did, things were good. And I've been invited to some Broncos games, and I've gone because they were the awesome seats and the awesome clubhouse levels where you can go get food and sit by fireplaces. It's a real trip. VIP stuff is wow. But for the most part, I couldn't tell you who's on any of the teams anymore. I don't know who the coaches are. I don't know how they do. I don't even pay attention to sports headlines. I don't know, like this last year, because of all the Taylor Swift noise, knowing that Kansas City, I still at the moment I couldn't tell you who Kansas City played in the Super Bowl recently, in Atlanta or something. Yeah, truly, I don't follow any sports. That boggles some people's minds. They're so into it. And I get it, I'm done. I'd rather fly. I'd rather learn how to fly. Heck, I'd rather play D&D at this point. Which, our D&D game, again, canceled this week. Kind of bummed about that, but that's the way, that's the way the real world goes when you're all adults. We're really, the reason why we're playing is, our friends have kids who are young adults, and they all want to play Dungeons and Dragons. They want to learn how, and they want to play. So our old friends called us up, and we're old now too, and invited us to hang out on the Saturday nights and take them through a bunch of stuff, and then alternate DMs. And I've already had my chance being a DM. It was a lot of fun. I did a couple of weekends, but because of the snowstorm and yada 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 schedules, we haven't played for like 3 weeks now, 3 or 4 weeks. 3 weeks. So I'm looking forward to getting back into that. Playing a character class which I've really never played before, and that's cleric. I love being the fighter. I love being the Conan character. The barbarian. I like tactics. And I've got my buddy who's running most of it. He doesn't mind getting into the tactics of things. We break out the game mats and the figurines. And so, it's not all theater of the mind. And again, I love tactics. So, he's always throwing massive numbers at us. And some of the other party members are like, I don't get it. How come we're always running into such massive numbers? And I'm like, because, you got to learn tactics. We can overcome these if you just, if we work together as a team. And so I've been showing them, but anyway, I'm playing a cleric for the first time. And I'm still over there trying to negotiate tactics, and they're like, how do you have all this knowledge of battlefield stuff being a cleric? Yeah, that's a good question. Let's just say I grew up in a town always plagued by war. It's what you talk about when you're having breakfast in the morning at the local pub, you know, with everybody else. Better come up with some good tactics. The bandits will be back this year. Mm-hmm. And how's the Milo doing? So if you're just tuning in, I'm back in Colorado just for today because we're having a great snowstorm. And I wanted to do a comparison between Microsoft Flight Simulator live weather and how does it really look out there in the real world. And this is perfect. This is exactly what is going on right now in my part of the world with regards to the snow, the coverage. It's not perfect where I'm at, but it's pretty darn close. Some places out here, the highs so far that I'm seeing 50 inches of snow, mostly in the 20s and 30s. But somebody, can't remember where exactly, they've already hit 50 inches. And that's far out. We need it. More. That was me in the midnight hour last night. Crying more. Cats wanted to go out. You know how cats are. Doesn't matter what time of day or really even if it's crappy weather. Cats all hit me up in my room last night and they're like, let us out, man. It's snowing. Let us out. So I opened the door to let them out and looked up into the sky and it was coming down. And I'm like, yeah, bring it. More. All right, let me turn now and head back towards Denver. So let's go over to heading here. So this is the front range, and looking south, even though you can't see it at the moment, that'd be Pikes Peak in the Colorado Springs area. Monument, and as we're pointing that way, now you're looking kind of like you're looking towards Denver. One of the major passes, I-70, they've closed it they had it closed last night for all traffic. And I guess they've opened that up, and that's a major corridor to get back into there, from there to there. But they're still not allowing semis through, just smaller cars, and they prefer that you have chains. They said a lot of these semis, they just don't want them to do it. Not yet. And again, it's not going to be in Colorado. It's you know, you might be inconvenienced for a little while. It won't be a long while. It'll all melt off real fast. So I've just been flying around, checking the weather, comparing how it is in here to how it is out there, and it's fantastic. And being nostalgic about past snowstorms that we've had, and how in the past it used to be much more. You know, there is something to that with the global warming. You know, I'm definitely not going to say that we caused it. We're such a small footprint in Colorado, ultimately, that I don't believe it. And two, you know, we're not in an isolated bubble. The electromagnetic plasma, the electroplasma environment that the Earth sits in is controlling everything. Mother Nature, if you will, right? So climate change happens. It's always happened. It's always been happening. Look at Egypt. We were just there doing the route of Alexander the Great. At one point, you used to be able to take a boat from one end of Egypt to the other. If it would rain and you would get 1 inch of rain in Egypt, it would flood everything. Right, so yeah, climate change happens. Lake Titicaca, which is way south in South America. All right, it's one of the highest lakes in the world. But it's a saltwater lake. And the best they can figure, at one point when there was climate change and things were twisting and turning on the planet, the water level, the sea level was that high. I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying that one. Because everything else would have been filled in as well. They're like, it filled it in with salt water. But then why wouldn't every bit of water in any lake going all the way back down, they would all be salt water too? Anyway, I don't know about that one. But either way, climate change, it happens. Don't believe that we're responsible. And no matter what we do, we could go green tomorrow, 100% green. And Mother Nature, she's going to do what she wants. It's hubris to think that we can, at this stage of technological development, think we can control cosmic forces. Sure, we might have some impact, but again, this electroplasma environment that we live in as well, it controls everything. It controls planet rotation. You ever thought about why planets are rotating? Well, because why don't they slow down and stop? Spin is usually induced by electromagnetism. Okay. Planet spacing. What's keeping the planets spaced apart? Why aren't things just constantly colliding out there? Because electromagnetism likes balancing things out. Nature likes finding balance. Terraforming? Well, it's just water and erosion and wind, and no, it's not just that. They absolutely know that the currents that are flowing around a planet all the way down to the planet's surfaces, they are also responsible for terraforming, electro-terraforming. Catastrophe. Yeah. Catastrophes are caused by the environment that we live in space. So that's why I say it's hubris. We could go 100% green tomorrow. They shut everything down and we're back to eating nuts and berries and no technology. And the whole earth could just still blow up. Mother Nature has her own plans. That's a big club. That's a small club, and we aren't part of it, as George Carlin likes to say. It's a small club, and you're not part of it. Well, we're not part of that pantheon. So I don't like all this stuff that they're doing, trying to force us into all this climate change stuff. Because it's like the Borg say, it's futile. Mother Nature is going to do what Mother Nature wants. God is going to do what he wants or she wants. However you look at things. I'm not going to split hairs on how you perceive the source. I'm all for saving the planet. I'm all for, and the thing is, as technology has developed and as we become better and better stewards, I've always been for it, you know, always for, hey man, if we can use solar here, or if we could do this here, and that'd be great, you know, but forcing people to do things, that's wrong. We need to cut cattle emissions. We need to do this. We need to do that. No, what you're doing is you're going to kill us all because you're retarded. It really comes down to it. You know, here's a nickel. Get yourself a better scientist. It's the facts. It's science. It's bullshit. You're lying. How many great scientists throughout time have been wrong? A lot. But it's science. There's very few things that are facts. Everything's usually in a state of just being a theory. And again, I don't know any climate specialists that they've ever introduced who are trying to dictate all this stuff that are plasma physicists, plasma astrophysicists, plasma cosmologists, plasma cosmogonists. That's a niche group. And usually it's those people who are not being presented as your climate experts, because they're going to say what I'm saying. They're like, what are you talking about? We're not a bubble. We don't control anything. Universal cosmic forces control everything. It's great to think green. It's great to think about and do all of those things. Learning from this planet is what it's here for. Learning to be better stewards is fantastic. Forcing people to comply and ruining livelihoods and industries and suppressing the advancement, because again, we do have to make mistakes. You learn from your mistakes. We've had mistakes. We do understand that on a local level, how you can jack up an environment. You know, to say it's that we don't cause any of it, you know, I'm not going to say that at all. Because again, look at like London or any time any place went through a major industrial revolution, turning all their water grains, stinking up the air, everything's jacked up, right? We had to learn. So we can have a dramatic impact on the environment. But our footprint overall across the entirety of this planet is very, very small. I don't think a lot of people comprehend how big the Earth is, and they don't spend usually any time flying around in simulators. That's for sure. They don't realize how much open space there still is. I think it was a big eye-opener going through the on the route of Alexander the Great as we moved from Europe down into what they called at that point Asia. The Near East, something like that. Either way, we're making our way down towards from there down towards Jerusalem and Gaza and towards Egypt. What I'm trying to make is how little development there has been since the time of Alexander the Great. There are still some humongous cities that now we've seen them and that have skyscrapers, but they're still few and far between. In a lot of the places that we flew over and looked at the battle sites of where Alexander the Great was, not a whole lot has changed in the area since the time of Alexander the Great. You can still see the scars in the ground. You can still make out things. And that's most of the planet. All right, we're heading back south. We've been traversing the Front Range today to check out the snowstorm that we're having out here in Colorado and to compare the live weather to what's going on out there in the real world. And the conclusion is it's fantastic. It is spot on. I hadn't really had any other plans today. I don't know what I'm going to do next. If we're gonna pick it up back in Babylon, we can be back up into Europe really, really quick. We do an Airbus flight. We'll get back to Neofly next week. Bushtalk Radio. And we'll find another cool route to travel. I'll start doing a little bit of research and what would be a fun route to travel. If you have any particular leaning on which direction you'd want me to go, north, south, east, or west, then let me know. Nearing the top of another hour. Time for a smoke break and a drink break. I like imagining that we have couches in here and it's a much more luxurious experience. This is all way too formal for me. I want couches, some LED lights. We need partner. We're going to need better lighting. We're going to need some a lot of USB ports. We're going to need some video screens. We're going to need a small little kitchenette back here with a nice refrigerator. This, we're going to have to take this panel out and put in a little bar back here. And I want to be able to what we can do too is I would like to be able to extend the cab. Have you seen all those RVs now that, you know, you can slide the sides in and out and make the cab wider once you're at your destination? That'd be cool if we could do that with our aircraft. So that in the future we can land and all of a sudden deploy the sides and do other things. One, if we hop out of the aircraft here for a minute, is we've got a lot of cargo space underneath. We've got several feet more underneath us here. And I wonder if I could extend that further back towards the tail and get more. Or just cut it in, like, we only need like a quarter of that. And drop the floor all the way down. So you kind of have to step up into the cockpit. So that way we can stand whatever kind of space you need so that we can stand in here. And that'll only be a couple of steps. We just need a few more feet. And I think that if we were to drop down into there, we could get that kind of experience inside of a plane like this. I am always thinking about like RV plane. I want to see something that they make these amazing RVs today, these camper RVs. And I want to see if anybody's doing that. I haven't ever seen, hey, check out the new Volkswagen Cessna Caravan. Volkswagen working with Cessna to create the ultimate experience. Only $7 million. That's something else we've got to get a grip on in this economy. They've made flying just a super rich person's endeavor. Right? With the weight of the average American and the average person these days, we're taller, we're bigger, we're definitely fatter, and more fat than people of the past. I live in one of these old 1950s homes where everything was built for like small people. Everything's tiny. The bathtub is tiny. Everything's tiny. So, to get yourself a Cessna, a small little Cessna, but then, you're only looking at like 4 people. You're not even up to a minivan. So this needs to be kind of like the average plane now. This needs to be like your everyday mom and pop, soccer mom aircraft. So come on, $5 million. That's ridiculous. A tour bus, a great rock and roll tour bus with everything loaded on it. Yeah, maybe 5 million, but come on. I've seen some amazing RVs, 100,000, 80,000, 90,000, right? So it's about as long. We get more interior room space. That's another thing. I wonder if they could make these things wider in general, aircraft wise. Can you have a wide body? What if they were to turn the Caravan body more into oval shape, like and also it's so boxy. I don't understand that either. It doesn't seem aerodynamically better. You would think that and then the wheels don't come down. You think that they would have made some shields for those to divert wind. I don't know, but I think it's amazing that she flies at all. So an engine is still an engine, and I don't understand why this thing doesn't just cost a little bit more than, I can understand $1 million maybe. So they're complaining, we're not going to have enough qualified pilots in the next few years to run all of our airline industries. Well, you did it to yourselves. When the government gets involved, again, there's a fine line between doing the right thing and ridiculousness and absurdity. The FAA is a fine thing, but if you go back to the days of before there was an FCC, people were still working out the rules of flying. People would have figured it out with or without the government involving themselves. But it's so expensive now to go learn how to fly. Well, it's not really. It depends on, how much training you do through YouTube. But before, in the past, terribly, terribly expensive. And then even old planes, back to the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, they all hold their prices. If not, they've gone up in price. So you can't even buy something that's old at a decent price. So for them to cry about it, when they've caused it, like government with inflation. Only government creates inflation. Everybody's screaming, make people pay more, make the corporations pay more. Well, who set the codes? Did the businessmen set the codes? Did they create the IRS? Is it corporations who created the IRS? No. Is it corporations who set the rules in the for the IRS? No. So who did it? It's not fair these giant corporations don't pay what they owe. Whose fault is it? Now you're just exposing what we all knew growing up. That if you've got a high-paid lawyer to go through the tax laws, that you too can take advantage of all of these loopholes. He didn't pay anything in taxes this year. Yeah, because you let him. You set up a loophole. But so they're like, oh, just make businesses raise the minimum wage and force that on people. Force a minimum wage. What happened to my camera? Oops. So, like everything else, they've inflated everything and through regulation, made everything more expensive and more expensive. And with every regulation, there's more expense. You must have these technologies and this type of transponder, and you must do this, and you must do that, and you must do this. And now you can't afford anything at all, let alone something like this that you absolutely need these days. Let's turn more south. Get back to where we started. That's a Kink song, isn't it? That's at least what's playing in my head at the moment. Anyways, enough complaining. I would love to meet people that are airplane fanatics and they're camping and RV fanatics at the same time. They must exist. They must. It, to me, seems inconceivable that there aren't people out there, and I haven't found them yet, to show me interiors that are just insane. You know, like Airstream. Why hasn't the Airstream company, or maybe they have, again, it's limited knowledge, but so far I've just never come across anything like it. If you know of anybody that's doing aircraft RV style building, please let me know. Yeah, Airstream to me would be ideal. Excuse me, folks, it is cold here, and a little bit colder in my room. I like keeping it cold for the computers and all. So are a little bit stuffy. All right. All right, I'm calling in a full stop landing at Colorado Springs Municipal. "17 right." Okay. "17 right." All right, that's set. Let's go out to the RK. Set it to auto nav. And we need to come down to 9. Come on. What's wrong with the camera? The camera controls have been botched. Like my zoom out. What's up with my zoom out? I think I have the wrong controller. No, that's right. Well, we'll just have to work around any problem as you do. "9,000 feet. Slight little change. All right. Don't need full prop. Don't need full that. Put on our separator. Nav. All right, we're heading to the Black Forest VOR, and now let's go to procedures. "17 right." ILS. Really? They don't have an ILS-17 right? Oh well. We'll do the Adane intrigue. All right, 10 miles to that. And we're not descending enough. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. We're flying the kite. So we're flying... Uh-oh. Give me a break. It doesn't want a flight level change. Down. All right, make it. So it's going to fly to the Black Forest VOR. I would think it would cut. When I load the procedure, it might just cut and go over here. And then start this DME arc. Supposed to be an arc. It used to do an arc. And then bring us back around in and down. People of today have it so good, this glass, they call them glass cockpits, computer screens for the rest of us, normal people. So now that we're using digital computer screens in the aircraft, all these old style steam gauges, I mean, we still, you can still have them, but for the most part, using GPS, it replaces steam gauge technology. And that's a transponder, but radios and other things you can all incorporate into electronics. And I really recommend, if you're going to learn how to fly, dedicate yourself to learning how to fly with steam gauges, the old school. And then moving up to these, well, I think will feel like a much greater accomplishment. All right, there's 9,000 feet. And we're holding, and we are 1 mile out, so let's go to procedures and load the activate approach. So let's see over here now. Yeah. So it's gonna cut now to ADANE that waypoint, do what they used to call a DME arc out to Febla, and then we start making our way down to the runway. The Semka waypoint, Gibbous, Kagu, Laxley, and then the runway. Normally, for an ILS landing, it's 9,000 feet at Febla. Double check. In the United States, everything is easily, all the airport information is all public, and everything you'd want to know about any particular airport is available. As we were traveling through Europe, it's so difficult to find flight maps and radios, and much more difficult. We have a few minutes. Let's enjoy. There's a lot more snow on the ground than what it's showing here. So this would be my only complaint, and that's a minor, is that everybody's got snow still over here. It may not be 100%. I mean, you're not going to be seeing green, in my opinion. Being a pain in the butt today. I hadn't thought about this whole flight, and I should have, especially being in Colorado. The icing. I think that the Cessna has de-icing, but I've never had to employ it. We should probably look at that. Fluid control. On, backup on. Airframe. Windshield I'm not worried about. Stall heat on and up. Is pitot heat? Yep. Pitot heat on. Want it on high and on the airframe. She's done really well. I really would never recommend trying to fly trying to fly a Cessna or 172 or anything without de-icing when you have bad weather, but I recommend you try it. If you live in a place or don't live in a place, get into a place where it's like this and you're getting icing, and fly in a small aircraft like the Cessna 172 and experience the emergency of icing and what happens to your airplane. Your engine can freeze, and the weight of ice on your airframe can also cause you to fall out of the sky. So you have two major emergencies to learn how to deal with in snow. Honestly, you think about it, how can your engine freeze the heat, right? It happens. It happens. With an engine freeze in a Cessna 172, the only thing I've found to recover from it is going to a dive and hope you have enough altitude. Because if you can dive it with a fixed propeller, you can make the engine superheat itself. Because you increase the RPMs dramatically, right? You generate so much heat in the engine that it thaws out components of the engine. It's the oil running again. But you only have a limited amount of time at that point once you've got your engine unfroze. With the ice, which is now seems like it's starting to melt off. Yeah, we're de-icing. Getting well, we were on that side. Getting low enough to where the ice starts melting off. And staying low enough. Or trying to get high enough to get into warm air. Again, it's you should learn how to do it. You should learn how to deal with all kinds of emergencies. Okay. We're on the arc. And we're at 9,000 feet. Our next flight level change will be to 7. I haven't tried to, with the RNAV, use approach. That's the extent of my knowledge. I need to really go out there and get caught up with any new training that is available for using these type of monitors, and with Microsoft Flight Simulator, they've employed what's called like the NXI or NX version to all this stuff. So learning about the full capabilities of using the NX versions of all the Garmin digital screens. When I'm practicing instrument flying, normally it's showing you the landing pattern. I've got it set up so you can see the landing patterns. Normally I don't fly with landing pattern on. I'm doing that for these live streams, so, to get you enthused about flying, and these aids that are available to you to help you learn how to do your landings. All right, let me start putting some propeller back in. Yeah, you see our speed bouncing around like that? That is because of the ice. I don't think the de-icing is working. All right, getting ready to make our turn. I am surprised the air traffic controllers set us to 17 right. I'd say 99% of the time up till now. 90% of the time it has us on 17 left. All right, we're making our turn. TOD is top of descent. All right, we're basically at top of descent. I'm gonna go ahead and come up here, pull back on my throttle a tiny bit, and do a flight level change. She should start falling. We do have a diamond for like an ILS approach. Henning has come into the chat room. My instructor, one of my instructors from Germany, and he says they're in DCS world, and he is Rio in the Tomcat right now. Okay, I'm just now starting to get into the world of aerial combat, and I understand just enough of that to understand that he's in the back seat and he's controlling all the electronic suites, right? You're controlling all the electronics. I don't know the full capability of what the Rio does in a Tomcat. But he says that's what he's doing right now. He says, I'm Hans Rio in the Tomcat right now. That is pretty darn cool. $500 at 7,000 feet. Maybe I was supposed to stay at 9, but yeah, I don't want to be hearing 500. Go back up. All right, all told there at 7.7. All right, and let's put it into, once she stabilizes here, see if we can put it into approach mode. Where's approach mode? There we are. Well, it doesn't seem like she... Well, kind of. The flight director shows it doing the right thing, but the ILS bubble... pretty far below us. And it says we're in stall speed. I don't know that it's taking us down or not. So, I don't think so. So, I'm going to turn off the autopilot. I don't believe she's doing approach. You can tell me that you wouldn't. You said something like, I can tell you that you wouldn't want to be you wouldn't want me to be your Rio. Yeah, I would. Of course I would. Hey, we all gotta learn. You gotta learn. We gotta learn. That's what the adventure is all about. If anybody can learn how to be a great Rio, if anybody can learn how to do anything great, it's you, my friend. You are... There's a big bump there normally on 17. Wow. The ground effects really kicked in right there, and we lost a lot of air underneath us. Landing there, I'm now remembering why I don't normally land on this runway either, is it's got a big incongruity at that end of it. If you come in if you land on it too early, you'll hit this mega bump and you will die every time. Oh, what I was doing today, I didn't know what you fellas would be doing. So I spawned back at my home state today because we're having a great snowstorm here. And I've got 2 feet of snow, about 2 feet of snow here at my place. So I wanted to fly in around my town today and see how good the computer was doing with live weather with regards to here. And it's perfect. It's been a great flight. And for the most part, the snow coverage is right where it's supposed to be. Maybe off a tiny bit, but just a few miles. Not much at all. So, a success. You're doing the training right now for Rio. And again, that's all I know, is I know that Goose and Top Gun and the guy that sits behind you isn't just a co-pilot. He's usually, as I understand it, the person behind you is normally handling your radio communications, your electronic warfare, potentially even navigation, and possibly even some sort of setting weapon systems. I don't know 100%. I don't know anything. That is just a wild guess on what the Rio's capabilities are. I think that would be a lot of fun because sometimes I'm not the best coordinated, as you've seen, I'm not the best coordinated dogfighter yet. I have learned a lot. I mean, I actually took the time to watch lots of dogfighting videos to understand concepts and techniques. And when I was last doing them, before we did our cross countries and the Route of Alexander, employing those things and thinking about those concepts and techniques and maneuvers while I'm doing it made all the difference in the world. Where the dogfighters in the A-10s, they were beating me 90% of the time. And now I would say that going in there, if I don't make too many mistakes, now I can beat them 80% of the time. One maneuver now, the high energy evasion, basically, is that you always make sure that you're above them. Made all the difference in the world on the dogfighting training. What do I want to do here now? We're going to grab the F-14 Tomcat. And we'll have a look at the Rio area. I don't remember the differences between the B and the D. I think that I was always using B. I'll just go with that one for now, the B. And we'll go to my nearest. Let's go to Space Command. Yeah, the B and the D Tomcat. I try to find out what the difference is while it's loading in. Sounded like I just had a driver crash. I don't know why it's putting that little icon down there at the bottom of the watermark in the bottom of the screen. It's only supposed to be there at the end of the live stream. There are a few physical differences. The B and D have the wing glove vanes deleted or sealed. The nose, the undernose fairing is the same as the late model F-14As. AANAAX1 television camera system and ARHA antenna. Seats are the GRU-7. Gun bay gas purging vents are different as well. The most notable is the engines. The A model has the Pratt & Whitney TF30 engine. Later, B and D models had more powerful and much more reliable GE F110s. F110s. Through B model had the MB GRU-7A seats. D models had the NACE seats, also found in F-18s. D model sported a dual chin pod. There's too much to list, for my brain is about to overheat. For a comprehensive list, go to MATS, www.antf.net/F-14/. This site has a lot of info on the Tomcat. Take care, Mitch. Okay. Rio. See if I can get my view back there. What? This one doesn't have a Rio? What? Yeah, it does. Camera's not going to go there. Dang it. There's the Rio seat. So that's basically what Henning is saying. For the most part. He's got lots and lots of controls in all the way around him. Can't make much of this out. Make any of it out. I know that the A model would spin out a lot, like in Top Gun. That's how Goose died. He flew through somebody's jet wash and it caused a destabilization in the engines. And when the canopy didn't go, or Goose hit the canopy on the way out. Some things I really loved about this plane, I don't know if I can remember it, but I remember I loved this plane more than the other because to me it was much more simple. Right? So for doing your speed and altitude, vertical speed, although they're a little weird to get to. And they're a little difficult to see sometimes. And I don't have key binding, so it makes it difficult to sometimes get into these. Get to some of these keys. But your ability to control your aircraft is very nice with that stuff. There's your autopilot controls over here. Wind sweep. Wing sweep. Now I'm having trouble getting the lever. I remembered how to turn on my afterburners. Yeah, okay. They're on. Let's double check. Control B, so I did. All right. Oh, I like the fly-by-wire capability of it, like pushing it and leaving it. I like the stability of that for sure. Just broke the sound barrier. Afterburners on. Almost 600 knots. All right. Autopilot. Engage. Alt. Altitude hold on. Altitude hold. All right, heading hold. Get rid of this. Heading. Let's go to 90. Let's go out east. All right, there's east. Now let's see about. This is one of the ones that's hard to get to. No, that's alt. Heading. Heading's here. Push. See if we start turning. Or this over here needs to be on. Heading. It recentered our heading. But we were on heading hold. She is turning. Was. Ah, I see. If you click it, it's like in the Cessna. It'll recenter itself. Don't click. Come on, keep going. It's not putting me into the proper drone camera. There we are. Oh, this would help if I had my gear up. All right, now let's try to do speed. This roll stabilizer. Kitchen yaw. All right. All right, so we are going 228. Is that it? No, 790. Oh, she didn't hold. Turn back on heading hold. And she moved. Okay, speed. Speed, and then you use... This is a tough one because you got to use this knob. And dial it down. $760. We were flying. $640, $630. This bird has so much speed. That's amazing. All right, there's 400 and... Let's see what it stabilizes at. See if it will. Good. That's positive. All right, that's how you can control your speed. Auto speed, auto throttle. Okay. See if I can get my gear up now. Now, these are different modes. Let's see. Cruise. Okay. Let's find a nav point. So I'm trying to open Sky Vector. I don't have this stuff memorized. Okay, BRK is... 1125. One, two, five, swap. I'm trying to get it to switch to nav mode. VOR 105. So I took it out of cruise mode and I put it into 2 mode. It would be like en route mode in DCS. $280. 90. And we're heading to the VOR. Okay. But that's still... That is on. Setting is off. Yeah, this one's a tougher one to dial in the altitude. You can see the button down there, but it's really hard to keep your altimeter in view at the same time. So yeah, we're about 90 miles from where we took off from. And as you can see out here in Kansas, no snow at all. And they're getting 50 degrees or higher temperatures out here. So in the next day, I really think by tomorrow evening and going into the next day, all of the snow will have melted off. It's going to warm up real fast and make everything really wet. So it's nice when you can, it's nice flying manually, but, and I need to take more lessons on navigation, because I'm at a loss as to plot points or go to different points or set a point, and I don't remember how to do take hand, or either way, get it to auto go to the next area. Either way, you can do those things. I love learning how to fly these things with autopilot. In Microsoft, it makes sense. In DCS world, it doesn't necessarily make sense unless you are covering great distances. But in Microsoft, there's no combat. So just learning how to fly this thing and learning how to fly comfortably, controlling all aspects of it with the autopilot system, something you should definitely take the time to learn. It'll make your, again, long distances very, very nice. I do have a setting back to the Black Forest VOR. I've been keeping an eye on that. It is set here in the bottom from the radio, and we're at 71 miles out. I guess I can go ahead and speed us up. See how fast we can close this distance. I'll grab this dial here. I'm looking in the upper left-hand corner of the HUD. I can barely see. There's 400 knots again. 500 knots. Shame about the gear. Can't get it to raise. We had that problem last time. Reminds me so much of Battletech or Robotech. 42 miles. Doing 508. Okay. Oh, it's off. $596. 50. 690. 750. 31 miles. We just run out of fuel. What happened there? Uh-oh. I think I turned the engines off. All right, and turn off altitude hold. Excuse me. .32 in the middle of the afternoon here in Colorado Springs, and this is what the weather's like. All the snow's already starting to melt off. It's still gray outside from where I'm at, closer to the mountains ahead of us. And we still have a foot and a half of snow on the ground. I love how slow she can fly. It's a beautiful thing. Of course, you got to marvel at the speed you can achieve, but it's also, to me, a real big achievement that it can also fly this slow, being this heavy. Drifted a little bit. Hello. A little hard. Way hard. I slowed down a little too slow, and then I picked up a little too fast and didn't cruise down the length of the runway good enough. But we didn't die. Crashed is set to crash, so we survived it. And remember, which one is it? Those. Where is the master battery? There. Right in front of my face. That's the one I wanted. That way you get your credit. Sometimes, not all the time. I don't know that they fixed it. I haven't checked in a while, but in the past, if you didn't shut down the plane and go back to the main menu, that way it wouldn't add in any time. You'd get no hours accumulated. $1,277 hours. So we added 5 hours this last week. I think it was actually more than that, but the last 2 days there wasn't a whole lot of flying around, mostly just teleporting. Oh, you were taking off in the F-14 and I was just landing. All right, let's try this. We haven't done this in a long time. Are you ready to go faster and higher than ever before? This hypersonic transcontinental flight is a challenge test of endurance. When flying at such high speed and altitude, every input maneuver you can have major impacts on your flight. Time is at 3:42. Do we have time for this? And yeah, sort of. I'll probably crash this at the start anyway, so. Only the bravest and best pilots can keep control all the way to the stratosphere. Take off at full afterburner, 30,000 feet, nose over, and accelerate in a shallow dive and break the sound barrier. At Mach 3, activate the scramjet, switch to start the engine transition. Then climb to over 100,000 feet above sea level, where the curvature of the Earth and the darkness of space is clearly visible. With your scramjet still on, at 120,000 feet and Mach 9, begin your hypersonic journey across the United States. Your scramjet still on, descend down to 100,000 feet, then full throttle down and pull the stick full aft to start losing speed. Below Mach 4 and 50,000 feet, reactivate the turbine engines and prepare to land on Cape Canaveral on the other side of the country. Okay. Release the parking brake by pressing the parking brake button. Okay. Scramjets. Engine status. Heading. Fuel cell temperature. Trying to maintain the Mach 9. Maintain GPS heading. Oh, I'm a little off. Maintain a 20-degree pitch. Too much pitch. Degree pitch. Roll inverted. Maintain a 1G pull down. Unload roll upright. Maintain a -20 pitch to trade altitude for airspeed. Mach 1. Pull up to 10. Mach 3. Just speed up. I can't reach Mach 3. Burners are on. This is Mach 3, right? I think I should have made that transition already, but I can't seem to get the speed up. Well, I'm going to do something I probably shouldn't do, because I think we should have made that transition a long time ago. So I think I've screwed up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to climb way high. Just up to, we were supposed to be at least 100,000 feet. I've got a tough time climbing. Yeah, I think we've blown it. Because I can't maintain altitude at all. Now we've lost all of our altitude, and I can't get the nose up, even using full trim. Endurance flights require blah, 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 blah. It went too fast. Come on. Aren't you lifting off? What? She's not responding to my joystick commands. There she goes. No. I'm not sure what happened there. We hit 180 knots and she did not. She would not lift off. Hundred 80 knots. Come on, up, 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 go up. She won't. She's not listening to my... She's not responding to the joystick. I don't understand. I don't know. Had no problem with the first takeoff. All right, now I'm gaining speed while getting there. All right. Speed is going up. Yeah, we were losing too much speed. We just never got to the Mach 3. Mach 1.3. Losing speed. 1.34. .33. Losing speed. All right, well, we'll trust that. Then we'll just keep climbing. We're supposed to be up to 120,000 feet, so we're 54. So maybe once we get up and level out, I don't know. Uh-oh, now we're losing altitude again. Can't maintain the climb. Not responsive. The nose isn't responsive. No, we're falling. Can't maintain the pitch. So I'm not sure what we've done wrong. When I say we, sorry about that. What I have done wrong. But no, now I pull back all the way on the nose and I'm not getting anywhere. So there's a little more to it, a little more finesse than I currently have today. I have done this successfully, but not today. That's a real drag. You really want to, it gets really cool when you kick on these scramjets and start getting up to like Mach 10. Quite amazing. Even though we're doing amazing speeds now, it's nothing compared to what will happen. So I've got some nose control again, but you know, we've already lost it. Back down to like 20,000 feet. Yeah. Screen seems wide. Yeah, it might be my... I'm not sure. Well, Henning is left for the afternoon. He says it's 11 o'clock there. She was pretty, didn't she? We are an amazing people, that's for sure. Blows my mind. All right, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up for here on this Friday. We got to check out the live weather in Colorado and fly around a little bit. Check out the snowstorm in the area. Probably be gone in a day or two. Got to mess around a little bit with the F-14 and then 2 failed attempts to do this correctly. So sorry about that. I'll try to plan something out better for next week. I'm not sure what. Maybe back to Neofly, see how much money we can make. Keep doing our world tour in Europe. Oh, we finally reached Mach 3. Wait, it's going to do a transition. I'll be darned. Activate the bottom beacon switch in the cockpit. Activate the top switch. Activate this fuel switch. Activate the scramjet switch. Wait for the scramjets to reach full power. Maintain a 10-degree pitch. Reach Mach 9. Gradually pitch down to stabilize above 120 feet. Above. Okay, pitch down and try to stabilize. But I'm way off course. No, we shot that way. Not very stable. All right. $820,000, huh? Ah, darn it, now I undershot it. Big time. Okay. Stabilize, stabilize, stabilize. Oh man, I dropped the nose. A lot. Mach 9.84. Oh man, I was reading the altitude way wrong. We're way high. Wait, 20,000 feet? Wait, 200,000 feet. Yeah, I'm way off. Reach Cape Canaveral. We've crossed the United States. Maintain a negative 3G push. Bradley pitch down to negative 10. Crazy. It takes us days and days and days cross territory, and we just did it in under 30 minutes. Hold the stick full aft and reduce speed to Mach 5. Mach 5. Stay above 80,000 feet. Then to 50. Down negative 10. Send to 50. We're at 50. Set turbines to 80% power. Turn off the scramjet switch. Send to 10,000 feet. We're destabilizing. and we couldn't pull out. Oh, that was fun, folks. At least we tried. Maybe we'll try again next week. So, thank you for tuning in today. No, we don't want that screen. Yeah, that's the one we want. You have a fantastic weekend. Just look outside. It's this. I can tell the sun's wanting to come out. It's not so gray outside. And as I'm looking at a group of trees, they're getting heavy sunlight. So it was wonderful getting all this weather, this snow. I love it. I love it. Nice to be back flying at home in the simulator for today. We'll get back to that world travel here real soon. If you have any preferences, that's the word I was looking for, preferences, as to which direction you want me to go, let me know. All right. Good. Have a great weekend. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you same bat time, same bat channel, same Skydude time, same Skydude channel on Monday.